Is India's pharmaceutical industry going to be hit by this in a big way? And if it is, then how is it going to recover from that? Joining us here in the studio is Dr. D.R. Rai, the former General Secretary of the Indian Medical Association. Joining us from Mumbai, Dr. G. Nair, the former President of the Indian Drug Manufacturers Association. We have Dr. Devi Prasad Shetty joining us tonight from Bangalore. And Mihir Sharma, the Associate Editor of the Business Standard, is here with us in Delhi. And I want to ask Mihir first, your reactions to Mr. Sahni's interview. This whole distinction between what is adulterated in the US and what is adulterated here in India. Did you buy that?
Well, he may be telling the complete truth, but I think that for worried patients, he's going about it the wrong way. When a health company or a health-related company runs into this kind of trouble, I think the only thing that you can do is to stand up and say, we clearly cut some procedures at some point. It appears that some tests were not carried out properly. As he then said, we're a completely different company. This will never happen again. And in fact, we would like to ensure that anyone who was responsible earlier, is punished for it. But they don't seem to be taking quite the right approach to fixing this problem.
Because that stood out for me as well, that, we're a new company, we're not looking at the past, we're looking ahead. Don't you think accountability in something as big as this is important?
I think it's completely important. We have to remember that there has been, since a lot of these problems were happening, there has been a purchase. And the original promoters of Ranbaxy sold out. And I suppose that the current management believes that they just have no control over the people who are responsible then. But we don't know this. All right. Now, the question that we have to ask is, where is our government? And if it is the case that the Ministry of Commerce has decided to bat once again for the Indian generics industry, as it has done over and over again in the past, then that's not good enough. We need other wings of the government to step in and ensure that the drugs that are going on the market here aren't subject to the same problems that they were in America.
In all of this, the Health Ministry's silence is particularly glaring, Dr. Rai. What did you make of this interview? What stood out for you in Ranbaxy's explanation?
The day we came to know about this episode, we were literally very much shocked, because we consider as the Ranbaxy company as the blue chip company and a very, very reliable, and we all were proud of this thing also. But the way the reports are coming, it is very, very contradicting. Somebody is saying that we are not done, and the Daiichi is there. He has not taken any suggestions from us. So I think if they were right at their point, why they have pleaded guilty for that one? And in India is emerging as a pharmacy of the world, as a pharmacy, and already we are having more than $15,000 US billion export is going on. And if a blow is coming to this Ranbaxy company, means the blow will come to each and every company of the pharmaceutical in our country. So it is going to affect, and the credibility of the companies are going down. And second is the security and particularly the safety for the patients, which the medicine which they are taking, somewhere the faith is being shattered. I think Ranbaxy should have come forward boldly. Yes, if there is a mistake, we are going to rectify it. But the way reports are coming, they were asked the explanation which was not given the time, and again it was given. We are surprised how this thing has happened.
So you were not convinced by Mr. Sahni's explanations right now?
No, second thing, you
weren't reassured.
No, yes, and the day when this report came, immediately Indian Medical Association has written to the Drug Controller of India that kindly investigate this thing and give the clarity, which was not there.
Dr. Devi Shetty, can you say with confidence today, as a well-known doctor in this country, that Ranbaxy drugs are safe? Have you had patients coming to you wondering whether there are concerns about whether they are adulterated or not? Because there are tons of people out there today who are concerned about the quality of the drugs that we're taking.
I have total confidence with the Ranbaxy drugs and the company as such. I've been to the extent that I don't mind taking Ranbaxy drugs if I ever have to take. I have total confidence. Now, about the fiasco, whatever incidents happen, it's very unfortunate. It shouldn't have happened. I am not an expert in analyzing what went wrong. All I can say is that I just want to ask a question: which American multinational or a European multinational was not fined by the regulatory authority? At some point of time, virtually every company made some mistakes and they were punished. But that doesn't mean that they should be condemned forever. I agree that there was a problem. It shouldn't have happened. But as far as I am concerned, I have total confidence in Ranbaxy company and their drugs. And as I said earlier, I have no problem in taking the drug myself.
But it was only relatively recently that they had to recall one of their other, major drugs, Lipitor, because of again concerns about glass particles being found in them. It's not something that only dates back to 6 or 7 years ago. This is something as recent as late last year.
I understand. Whenever a company is making large number of drugs, this kind of a problem can happen. But when a problem happens, company should admit there is a problem, recall it, and ensure that it doesn't happen again. So that doesn't mean that a company has been willingly trying to sell adulterated drugs. In any case, all I am trying to say is that the incidence shouldn't have happened. It has happened. Now, instead of trying to conduct the postmortem and trying to malign the whole industry, let's try to ensure it doesn't happen again, and have the confidence in the company. It's a company which was established decades ago, and I don't think the company is filled with people who are incompetent. They are competent people. They understand what has happened, and they will ensure that it won't happen again.
I have to though say I'm a little concerned that as a doctor you're saying that these things do happen among pharma companies, and I'll think twice. Mihir, I'll get a quick response from you. I would think twice then about what drugs I'm buying. It's a little scary to hear that.
It is a little scary. I think that what we're seeing here is a fear that the entire Indian health sector is going to be somehow tarred by Ranbaxy's misdeeds, and to an extent that's a reasonable fear, because Ranbaxy was for a long time celebrated as the vanguard of all that was good about the Indian health sector, and there is no reason to suppose, in my opinion, that if Ranbaxy was cutting corners, we know for certain that any other generic company in India was following procedures accurately, which is why we expect that the government and the Drug Controller of India should be out there saying, okay, we are shocked by what has been discovered in the United States. These are things that have been discovered by United States investigators about plants in India which we didn't know about. And therefore we are going to follow this up. But can't
let me ask Dr. Nair. Let me
Yeah.
ask Dr. Nair, who was the president of the Indian Drug Manufacturers Association. Dr. Nair, doesn't Mihir make a valid point? I mean, where is the Indian government in this? Where is the health minister? Where is the health ministry? What are they saying? And we've heard the statement from one arm of the government last night coming out in support of Ranbaxy. But isn't this incident also a huge failure of our own regulators?
Good evening. I must say that this has to be treated only as a wake-up call for Indian generic industry. As already mentioned, India is now declaring themselves to be the pharmacy of the world, and any pharmaceutical company who has agreed to subject themselves to the stringent regulatory requirements of US FDA need to be alert and prepared to be following the US FDA standards, which is substantially higher than the Indian regulatory standards. The allegations against Ranbaxy is not against the quality of the drug in the market, but the process, methods of manufacturing, the reports, the documentation which has been generated, the tests which have been conducted, the stability studies which have been carried out. These things were recorded to have been falling short. That is one of the allegations. The other one is making certain false declarations which were not in tune with the dates of the stability studies, etc. None of these are directly impacting the product in the marketplace, but according to US definition, this is coming under adulterated drugs, because any
but
data manipulation.
Say, Dr. Nair,
yeah.
As you yourself say, the Americans have a much higher standard of, as far as this kind of regulation is concerned. If you're not being able to meet American FDA standards, God knows what you're doing here in India. That's what a lot of people will think.
Yeah, I personally believe that regulatory requirements for documentation regulatory requirements are not as stringent in India, but that in no way, according to me, should affect the quality of the drugs that are in the marketplace.